Well, Ross, this is a kind of time of year that we're normally saying welcome to Rotherham United. It's welcome back in your case. Give us a timeline of the events of how this move's come to be.
Left Rotherham April 2022, the week before the Gillingham game. And then since then, 3 clubs, so Lincoln for a short time, over to Derby County when Paul Warne gave us the call. Spent 18 months there, and then over to Huddersfield and departed them back in January this year.
Could you give us an overview of what you've been briefed with the gaffer? Give us an overview of what your role will be as well.
Yeah, so come back in, same as before, overseeing performance and medicine. So looking after the fitness of the lads, the medical provision too, and then all the other bits in between that people don't really speak about that much, but the nutrition, the psychology, all the other aspects as well, that kind of build the department out. So quite all-encompassing really, but yeah, going back to where it was a while back.
You obviously had a really successful stint the first time around. Tell us a bit about your journey since. Where have you been and what have you been up to?
Yeah, so left Rotherham, like I say, April 2022, and went to Lincoln to help with them kind of professionalise their performance and medical provision. They were a bit of a victim of their own success, if I'm to be respectful in that sense, where they climbed through the leagues and looked at the backroom provision, needing a bit of help. So I went in there to help that out. But then when Paul Warne gave me the call to go to Derby, went over there to oversee football development and performance. So that was more analysis, and that was throughout the football club from academy through to first team and including the women's team. And then more recently, head of performance at Huddersfield Town and left them back in January this year.
You're obviously, as I say, really successful and highly regarded before you left Rotherham United, but all that experience since then, have you learnt a lot as a coach yourself, as someone in your field?
Yeah, absolutely. Did another master's degree, did the sporting directorship through VSI during those 2 years. That was one thing that I picked up on straight away after leaving here. So that's kind of rounded me much more in terms of a leader, definitely much more of a strategic thinker as well. And to come back here, it's lovely to see the old faces still here. It's lovely to see the building still being what it is. And that gives me a lot of confidence knowing that we can achieve great things back here again. So with the experience that I've had previously, along with a little bit of a journey in between, it's a really exciting time to come back and try and hopefully reinvigorate what we had before.
You mentioned the building, you were kind of a part of the project as it was getting off the ground, so to speak, all those years ago. Has it changed a little bit since you were last here?
Aesthetically it has, definitely. When Stephen Gilpin came over to kind of replace me after my departure, there was an opportunity to bring in some extra things. So I've noticed there's an ice bath in the boys' dressing room now. There's a bit of a change to the equipment and some of the stuff down the stadium as well. But it doesn't change the fact that we're here to work hard and we're here to play hard at the same time. And I think that the culture is still pretty much what we expected it to be with the staff that are then still here as well too. So it's a really exciting time to crack on with that, and I think it's going to be a really promising season.
The teams that you were associated with during your first tenure here were really fit, really robust. You've been away and learned a lot, but I imagine that's still the cornerstone of what you want in this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. After speaking to the gaffer and understanding what he requires and what he wants, and we know each other through and through from our previous time, I don't think that changes fundamentally what we're trying to do with the players. Culturally, we have to make sure that we're hitting the ground running, and there's an expectation from us in terms of what we want from the players and to drive those standards. But it's not going to be an authoritarian way of working. We're not going to come in here and tell players you've got to do this, got to do that, and be a sergeant major, although I have been accused of being that person before. But it's definitely one where we want people to come on that journey with us, as cliche as that sounds. Players, staff, backroom staff, everyone alike, and get that real family feel back to how Rotherham United should be.
I see you've been parachuted into some of the players' groups. A few tasks have been set physically for them already. What's the buy-in been like early doors?
Yeah, the lads have been great. They've been quite responsive. There's a hard week that they're starting with this week number 3 of the off-season, and they've had a good conversation with us around what that looks like and how it should be. Speaking to players who are coming back from injury and those players who are hitting the ground running, it's nice to get a feel for the boys, what their expectations are of the off-season programme, and it's a good opportunity for me as well to start and imprint those standards. So yeah, really good opportunity. Lads are quite engaging, and long may that continue.
All managers are different, aren't they, Matt? I'm sure obviously schooled under Paul Warne all those years ago, but as you've already touched on off camera, I'm sure he wants to put his own imprint on everything in pre-season. Has he kind of said he's going to be the type of manager that's going to let his fitness and sports science staff crack on, or is he going to take a bit of a hands-on approach? What's he said so far?
No, I mean, me and him get on like a house on fire. And yeah, under the success that we've had previously, we know what works at this football club in terms of how to get players to win games of football, what that means for them, not just physically, but also their behaviours and how we expect them to behave as good people within the training ground. I always use the saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. We've got to make sure that this is a cultural environment that does exactly that. We're positive. We give people a kick in the back, but we follow it up with our arm around the shoulder. We support people along that journey, and definitely knowing that what the gaffer needs from his players as a department, performance and medical, but as a whole staff, we can definitely deliver on that too.
And we won't assume there'll be 7 a.m. runs, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of it. But as you've kind of touched on there, was always about the mental side, as you said, and building that mental strength as much as anything as the physical.
Yeah, I mean, the season's a long season, especially when you go in your cup runs and you're playing Saturday, Tuesday and everything else. In League One, it is hard, and the environment does get quite difficult, and it becomes quite testing, especially around December and January in the cold months. But that's then down for the players to have that resilience, robustness, all those words that we use in terms of keeping a disciplined squad. But that's down to the staff to deliver on that as well, and we have to be the driving force behind them. It's an exhausting process for us because, who motivates the motivator? That's something that we've got to do collectively as a group of people. But we've got to be there to show the players that we aren't accepting poor standards. We want them to go out into the grass and do what they need to do, and do it to a standard that we expect them to. And again, I come back to the cultural part. That's something that has to be delivered on the day-to-day, every single part of the season that we go through at the training ground, so then we can expect that resilience and robustness on the pitch when the lads go and perform.
I'll make it clear that you've not preempted me with asking this question, but I know you've been up here hands-on leading that culture yourself. You've been moving boxes, moving things around the various buildings. Like, it's very much a case of we're all in it together, and no job's too small here.
No, look, we have a small staff. Worked at Derby, worked at Forest, worked at a couple of other big clubs, and people are quite specific in terms of what their job descriptions are. At this football club, we do things differently because we have got a family feel, we have got a togetherness about us, and if things need to be done where we're helping each other, that is out of our remit, then absolutely, we don't pass a problem. We go and help your mate out. You look at the containers down the bottom, they need a bit of a clean out, so we go down there with the brushes, we go down there with the drills, we start and sort things out, we put screws in, we take screws out, we tidy things up. We have respect for where we work, and I think that just comes down to a good human being a mate for somebody else, helping them and doing things that's right to keep this environment a right place to be successful and perform.
And we know you love a challenge, both personally and professionally. How much are you looking forward to this, getting back stuck into Rotherham United?
There was a couple of other options for me, a couple of other phone calls that I've had and meetings with other clubs, but as soon as the gaffer gave me the call, this was hands down. Everything else got forgotten about. To come back here, the back of the hairs on my neck started to stand up a little bit. We had some unbelievable success during my tenure in the previous time, and the challenge for me is, can we get that back again, or was it three promotions and a Papa John's trophy? That's not a fluke, but then to go and do that again, that shows that we can do something right. So that's what really excites me about this project, and that's what happened back in 2017. We all started brand new as a staff. We all came together and we were all trying to work things out and to try and deliver on what we were here to do, which was to win games of football. But how do we go about doing it? And there was a telepathy amongst us by the end of it, and that's why we became so successful. We knew each other inside out. We spent so much time with each other, and we were able to deliver on things that we just knew were going to happen. So we go out for a run in the morning on our morning meetings with the staff, and by the time we come back, we already knew what the day was going to consist of because we previously planned it, but also we knew what was just going to happen because that's what we always did. So I think moving forward, we have got that new about us, but there's still a lot of the old. Put those two things together, I think we can be really successful.
And you've spoken to players individually, I think, by WhatsApp and a few calls. Have any of them had a worried tone in their voice about what lies ahead in terms of the hard work to come?
No, I put a little video message into the players' WhatsApp group just to introduce me. There's only a couple of players that I've worked with before here, so to put a face to a name, I thought that'd be the best thing to do, just to welcome myself to the group. But I did tell them it was going to be hard. But I also said that, look, you've probably heard that from team people before, but don't worry, we'll back it up. We'll make sure we deliver on what we say we're going to do. We're not going to deliver empty promises. And our version of hard is very, very hard. What we've got to try and do as a group of people is determine what does hard work look like as a collective. If some people find it too hard, that's when we follow it up with an arm around the shoulder. People don't find it hard enough. Brilliant. Let's see if we can push a little bit more. So I think just trying to get that collective to understand what does hard work look like, that's going to be the task for us initially. And pre-season is a great time to try and find that out.